Let's give the people what they want.
Sing hallelujah, come on, get happy. Get ready for the judgment day.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Director J. Alex. I want to thank y'all for tuning in to my channel on this amazing Halloween season. As you can see, I'm rocking a good old Jason mask on my shirt. I just feel like I just throw something cool on, something smooth on. But thank y'all for tuning in, man. This will be my first movie review, and I'm excited for it because of the movie. There's so many different reviews and different takes on this movie. I just felt like it needed something different. So welcome again. Hit that subscribe and like button for me, and let's get into it. So first and foremost, man, I'm a nerd. So I had a whole notepad of, notes that I took into the movie theater just on this Thursday evening. I just went in. It was like one other person in there with me. So that's dope. I got to sit in the middle in the best seats. So I just wanted to gather an experience. When you bring somebody with you, you kind of look at them to see if they like the movie. And, I didn't want to do all that. I just wanted to go by myself and just experience this movie by myself. Just a little backstory. I seen the first one in Vegas, and man, I was so ecstatic about the first one. You can ask my little brother, man. I was raving about the first Joker movie. I loved it so much. I just hoped for a sequel, and boom, it came true. You know what I'm saying? Shouts out to Joaquin Phoenix and Todd Phillips and everybody that made that happen. So let's address the elephant in the room first. Yes, it is a musical. I don't know how people didn't know this was a musical. Like, I loved the first movie, and I was hoping for a second movie, right? So maybe this was kind of like a cheat code. But as soon as they came out with anything about the second movie, I was all over it. And I knew it was a musical from the first time I read about the second movie coming out. I know it's a musical. You can tell by the name that it's a musical. So I don't understand why people didn't notice. So that's kind of crazy to me, man. I was a little disappointed because I don't like musicals. I don't know too many people who likes musicals, honestly. Different strokes for different folks. I'm nowhere on Scott Silver's or Ty Phillips or Joaquin Phoenix level. So who am I to say anything? I'm just a little normal director and cinematographer, man. I'm just an audience member. So as I entered this movie, the first thing that came on that surprised me, it was like a cartoon intro. It brought me back to my kid days. It was called Me and My Shadow. It looked amazing. They did a little singing, but the singing wasn't like musical yet. It wasn't like a musical singing kind of type. You know what I'm saying? It was more so like if it wasn't a musical, how it'll kind of come off, and that's how it did to me. I think I was anticipating the music very early. It didn't really get into it very, very early. First 10 minutes of the movie, it did, jump in with something. But with the cartoon segment, man, the transition from the blood into the curtains, and then the curtains opening, and then the movie coming on. So that whole sequence right there was bravo. That was amazing to me. Now let's jump into the actual intro of the movie. You can see the pushing shot through the hallway, and you just see the inmates pour into the hallway, and just that middle shot just sliding right through. And man, this is a beautiful movie. I already know it would be, man, because of course Lauren Sher, which filmed the first one, I believe, and then Jill, she a colorist of this. Just a beautiful movie, and I'm a cinematographer at heart, so I love the grand, dark, saturated shots and just kind of pushing the image into make it, whatever you need to make it. You know what I'm saying? And Jill does her thing with this. So shout out to you, Jill. You did an amazing job. And Company 3, of course. So yeah, I wrote here in my notebook, man, that the first thing that I noticed that it was a beautiful image. It was a beautiful picture. Also, it was intense music. When he was walking through the hallway to dump his bucket, you heard music from the last movie. And I felt like that was like a nostalgia thing. And I liked that they incorporated that because it kind of made me feel good about the last movie. You know what I'm saying? And trying to get that negative energy out of my system from all the bad reviews about this movie. I didn't do too much research on who did the music, but great job on that, man. Also, what I noticed about the movie, it felt very Joker-like. When you see the DC films, they are dark. This is still a dark film. They are more realistic, you know what I'm saying? Just multiple scenes in the movie, you see the Joker hit the judge over the head with the gavel. Him just walking through the jail and everybody just know who he is. Everybody wants him to tell them a joke to make them laugh. It's kind of like a dark comedy, you know what I'm saying? Because Arthur Fleck wanted to be a comedian, but it's kind of like dark, you know what I'm saying? Let's move into the difficult part that I had. The first song by Arthur Fleck, I think Joaquin Phoenix did an amazing job. That shouldn't have probably been the first song. I was kind of like, uh-oh, this is the bad stuff that everybody is talking about, And I was like, didn't really sound good to me. I think they was trying to smooth their way into it instead of like jumping full throttle songs and background dances and all this, which I think they did a great job at. One of the officers that was played by Brendan Gleeson, he was doing a little singing and trying to get Arthur in the class because I guess he wanted to kind of sing. You can hear him throughout the movie like whistling songs, and it's just a lot of masterful things that they did during this movie and how they filmed it. But I feel like when Arthur Fleck starts singing, it kind of like took me out of it a little bit because I was looking like, damn, it's gonna be that type of musical to where it's kind of weird. He's not really a singer, so I'm like, I don't know if I would like this. Lady Gaga entrance to the movie was nice and smooth. Just them seeing each other, you can just see the color difference, like from his sad green, like desaturated tone when he was introduced to the movie. And then when you seen her, she's like deeply embedded in like a colorful yellow, saturated, just a deep dark look, but she still looked bright, you know what I'm saying? It looked like it was life in there when he looked in that room to her. You could see his face lit up, and you could see she was like, oh my God, I know who he is, whatever. So that was dope. But her entrance to the movie was fire because she popped out the room and was like, and did that little whole thing that he did in the first movie or whatever. Harley Quinn is unhinged, man. What was it? Lee Quinzel, they call her in his movie, lied to Arthur about most of the stuff. Raised with a nice family, dad's a doctor. She lied about her whole life, right? She wanted Arthur so bad that she checked herself into the Arkham Asylum hospital. So like, this is crazy. And he didn't know none of this. Like, she told him this sad story and he believed it, and he thought they resonated and everything. Their first kiss slash the fire that she made. And this is why I say she's kind of unhinged. And I like the direction they're going with this. I don't know why they chose to make it a musical. She lit the entire movie room on fire just to get them separated, just so she can give them a kiss. Then they pulled off like a fake escape and then was laughing, and it felt like Joker and Harley Quinn. And that's what I like about Todd Phillips and Joaquin Phoenix's, like their whole grasp on the Joker, because we understand that this is not a part of the actual DC universe. It's like a whole nother multiverse thing, but it's still dope. I like their spin on the Joker. It's like the Arthur Fleck person is just a crazy person, but it seems so Joker-like, like how it's supposed to be. I didn't even realize that I was an hour in the movie. I thought it was like 20, 30 minutes, and it was an hour, and it wasn't a lot of singing. Like, it did some singing stuff, and it did, but the whole musical part, nobody's seeing him singing. Like, nobody's gathering around him, and everybody joining in together and singing all this. He's singing by himself, doing a little, his little dances and his weird dances. It's not over the top. And I'm hearing a lot of people say it was over the top. They dragged it out, and I went in with an open mind and I enjoyed myself while I was watching this. I want to kind of talk more about some story right now, and I feel like the story is good. He's in court. He's trying to win the whole trial, and his lawyer doesn't understand him. She's just trying to win the case. Lee trying to get him to get rid of the lawyer. She's putting stuff in his head. And I feel like the story is good for what it is. Now, they could have played a lot on other stuff, but I believe they just try to stay in their lane and make it as simple as possible to move and progress the story. And as you can kind of hear, man, I like the movie. I don't see what most people is talking about. The movie is beautiful. The movie is dope. Like, I went in with no expectations. Like, I kind of had like a negative asterisk above my head floating over me a little bit because everybody was talking about it negatively. I went in with an open mind and tried to make sure that I gave it a chance first. And I feel like a lot of people is not giving it a chance because it's a musical. One of the songs that I actually enjoyed by Joaquin Phoenix was The Joker Is Me. That song was dope. I like that song. It had meaning to the movie. It felt good. It felt dope, man. I liked it. One of the great turning points towards the end of the movie where he fired a lawyer and, started trying to represent himself, and he came into full Joker costume. So I thought they was going to do something else, but they didn't. They kind of kept to the same simple, plot. And just the whole thing of him represent himself is crazy, and he blew it. Like he really blew it. I thought it was gonna take a spin and do all this type of stuff and win over the audience. Didn't happen. But I felt like that was very Joker-like because I was feeling for him at first. I wanted him to win the trial. I wanted him to do his thing. I wanted, the lawyer to come in and kill it. I kept saying in my head, like, this is the Joker. He needs to, like, blow up something. He needs to, like, smack somebody. He needs to jump over the fence and kiss Lee while she's just sitting right there, That's the type of stuff I had to, like, kind of start reminding myself because I start kind of feeling like, man, I want him to kind of get out and I want him to start, like, so they can do another movie and they can do this. So my mind started going to there to where really, this is the Joker. Let him do some crazy stuff. So I had to start bringing myself back to reality as far as what was in front of me. He probably gonna go to jail. You know what I'm saying? He probably gonna get the electric chair. You know what I'm saying? Just the drawback to him firing his lawyer, it felt like it was a weight lifted off his shoulder, right? You can just tell how crazy or psychotic he was. The movie was explaining her to be a good lawyer. And the weight felt like it lifted off his shoulders. And he was like, I'm gonna represent myself. I'm gonna just go do this. I'm gonna go crazy. But I think it was Lee, Lady Gaga was more so steering him in that wrong direction, because he didn't know what the hell he was doing. Another thing that I noticed that I was catching on to, that he kept holding back his laugh during the entire court segment. Like, little bits and pieces, he'll like kind of giggle a little bit, but kind of hold it back and nobody would notice. My favorite part of the movie had to be with Gary Puddles. The intense walk to the stand and, just the emotion that this man put on, man, behind that stand was dope. That put me in the movie the most. I just felt comfortable at that point when I just seen two amazing performances by Joaquin Phoenix. He switched his entire accent up. I don't know who he was trying to replicate, but he had like a southern Louisiana type of twang to how he was talking. Like, I don't know if in his head, that's who a lawyer was supposed to be, and he was just acting like somebody else. And then the Gary Puddles guy, how he goes up there crying and how he said he was so afraid and so scared and all this type of stuff. Like, it really pushed me into the movie even more. Man, I do not see how people did not like any of these segments. Like, I'm hearing so much bad stuff about it, but I'm only seeing so much good stuff about it. Only thing that I can understand about what a lot of people were saying was just, why do you have to make it a musical? You know what I'm saying? And I agree with that. But the musical didn't make me feel better or worse. It didn't do nothing for me. And I think it not doing anything for me is also a negative, because it wasn't needed in the movie. But at the same time, I enjoyed some of the songs. I enjoyed Lady Gaga, her voice, amazing voice, just was doing an amazing job. Now, one takeaway was the dance moves. The dance was trash. I can understand that. If you were actually a musical person, you like musicals, you like dancing, you like all the people joining in and dancing, this is not that. They did not do a good job for a musical. The last musical I seen was The Color Purple with Fantasia. Dope movie, but like, again, I'm not a musical person, so the music side didn't do much for me. I feel like this movie didn't do an amazing job at the soundtracks or like dance moves, or like, it wasn't nothing, outstanding to where you was like, oh man, this is like, I want to hear that song again. It wasn't none of that for me. But I'm not a musical person, so I'll leave that to the people that, is more into musicals. I'm more of a cinematographer, so I look at visuals more. Another dope scene, man, was when Lee Quinzel came in with the full Harley Quinn get up, with the makeup, with the costume on, and walking up the court steps, and just to support, Arthur Fleck, the Joker. She was just so into this fantasy with him, and she just wanted to do everything that she could to just abide by this Joker law. So we getting towards the end of the movie. I knew it was coming. He finally let that laugh out. He was in full Joker get up and he was representing himself, and he let that laugh out all the way. Gary Puddles is the one that made him full blast laugh, I believe, because he was like saying something that Arthur said, and he just let the laugh out, like, and I knew it was coming. Like, I'm like, okay, they putting that in the movie for some reason, that he holding his laugh back. You know what I'm saying? So that was fire to me. I was hoping this was going to happen more towards the middle of the movie to kind of extend my mindset, what I want to see in the movie and all this type of stuff. It's kind of getting out the courtroom, because the entire movie is the prison, like Arkham Asylum Hospital, right? And the courtroom. So it was like on these two different levels that I really didn't care for real. Beautiful stuff, but I didn't really care for it. I kind of wanted a different scene. And finally, some guys that was just amping towards the Joker, man, just loved him, that was fans of him, they blew up the side of the courtroom, blew up everything, the judge, everybody, you know what I'm saying? So even Arthur was like hurt, but he ended up escaping. He ran out. Some guys picked him up, full-blown Joker costume, put him in a car, drove off. Arthur ended up, when he coming back to his senses, ended up getting out the car, kind of escaping, kind of, them, and like running down the street and I guess trying to get back to Lee, Harley Quinn. Just a part that I kind of missed a little bit. When Arthur broke down inside of the courtroom, Lee Quinzel left the courtroom. She was in full Harley Quinn get up, but she left because he gave up, Arthur Fleck gave up the fantasy. He said, hey, there's no Joker, there's no this, and he just started crying and all this type of stuff. So when she heard that, she was like, oh, okay, you giving up on this fantasy, so I'm gone. You know what I'm saying? I was in love with the Joker, and that was like a mind-blowing thing to me because she was just in love with the Joker. She was not in love with the Arthur Fleck, the person. She was in love with the character. Fast forward back, he runs down the street, he goes back to the steps, the famous steps in New York, I guess, and he goes back up and she's right there waiting. He had a conversation with her. She basically told him that she was in love with the Joker. When he gave up the fantasy, she gave up on him. So, that was kind of cool. I kind of like that little spin on it. It was like, he was like, hey, I can't live without you. And she walked off. That was the end of Harley Quinn. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of knew it was going to get bad when that happened. I'm like, okay, so there's not going to be a Joker and Harley Quinn duo movie or nothing like that with them trying to escape jail, on the next movie or something. No. The verdict came back and everything, and of course, he was found guilty. He represented himself. That was, kind of crazy, which I loved, it was crazy. He lost, he blew trial. They was gonna try to give him the death penalty. At the end of the movie, it was another dope spin that I liked. He was called to say it was a visitor coming. He got up, walked down his long hallway. Officer left the hallway, so I guess it was a setup. Another guy turned around and said, hey, can I tell you a joke? Told Arthur the joke, and then stabbed him and killed him right there. Fell on the ground. The guy was laughing, this evil, hysterical laugh, crazy laugh. And you can see this push-in shot, and you can see the guy in the back of him laughing, and he just cuts his face like. And it's just kind of signifying that, the Joker is multiple people. You know what I'm saying? It's not just one person. And it just goes back to the old comics of like, you don't know his name, you don't know what's going on. He's been around for a while. And that was kind of dope to me. I'm like, okay, so they kind of like putting it to where it's multiple Jokers and all that type of stuff. So that was kind of dope to me. I'm like, all right, cool. Movie goes off. I was happy. You know what I'm saying? I don't get what people was tripping about, man. It was a dope movie to me. I liked it. So basically, man, that was my review, and I appreciate y'all for sticking around and, just enjoying this talk session with me. I know it ain't formatted like everybody else's reviews, but man, appreciate y'all for sticking through. And I'm gonna try to do more of these because this is fun, man. I love talking about movies. I love talking about cinematography, and that's what this is about. Make sure that y'all like, comment, and subscribe. Comment below on what movies you believe that I should do. All right, guys. Thanks for watching.